Here's the thing about environmental concerns is that we're fixing to have spring football. Now, right now, we're not so crazy about the heat because, well, it's not been that hot, right? But when spring football comes around, yeah, our guys have been working out and so forth, but it starts to climb. The temperature starts to climb pretty quick in Texas, and by the end of the school year, you know, it's pretty warm. You're in the 80s, possibly in the 90s, and now you're out there and you've got shoulder pads on and so forth. So we need to check on environmental concerns. Hyper. We've talked about hyper in so many different ways, all right? Hyperthermia. What's hyperthermia? Too cold? Which one is it? I've got that. Huh? What? Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's too hot. It says it right there, right? Hyper. Okay, so have you got like younger brothers and sisters? And are they hyperactive? Okay. They're not hypoactive, are they? Right. Did I? Yeah. I got you. All right. Good. We're now cool. All right. Hyperthermia. Thermia obviously is talking about heat. So it's you're overheated. Okay. It's absolutely preventable. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever for somebody to have a heat illness. None at all. Because it's preventable. How how do we prevent that? Huh? Yeah, you got to drink some water. What else can you do? Taking breaks? Exactly. Preventable. The body's only going to function within certain temperature ranges. All right? Just like anything that you see. Um, next time you buy a phone, if you start reading the stuff that goes with whatever it is you buy. Cell phone, computer, refrigerator, freezer, anything is going to tell you use this between this degree and this degree. If it gets too cold, it's not going to work. If it gets too hot, it's not going to work. Same thing with the human body, except it's a whole lot narrower as far as what's too cold and what's too hot on your core temperature. Right? Maintenance of normal temperature in a hot environment depends on the ability of the body to dissipate heat. How can you get rid of your heat? And that's what we need to find out. So, normal body functions will result in the production of radiation and heat. Okay. What happens even if it's chilly, let's say it's 50 degrees outside, which that's about what it is today. Okay? Who works soccer? You work soccer, yeah. When they come off the deal, it's nighttime, it's 40 degrees. It's 40 degrees. When they come off the field after playing for 30 minutes, are they sweating? Why are they sweating? It's 40 degrees. Yes, they're moving their body. So that means the inside temperature is going up. So they're already sweating. Now, can they get overheated? Yeah, they probably can, yeah. But it's a whole lot less likely because we don't have to fight all the other things that could help increase your body temperature. So, the body heat increases as a result of exercise. The amount of increase depends upon the intensity of the exercise. And the higher the metabolic rate, the higher the temperature. We just learned that, right? Right? So, if I am just jogging, am I going to be hotter than if I'm playing soccer where I'm really sprinting around a bunch? No, probably not. You're going to elevate it, but the intensity is not as high, so my temperature's not jumping as much as quick. Conductive. You're going to need to know what these things are. There's conductive, convective, and radiant heat exchange, and of course evaporative heat loss. But you need to know about what these suckers are going to be. Conductive. All right? Conductive heat exchange. Physical contact with other objects as a result of heat loss or gain. So I'm playing football, right? And I'm playing on AstroTurf. Is that going to be hotter or cooler than grass? Yeah, it is. All right. You know that stuff that's on those little pebbles in there? What color are they? So that's going to absorb more heat, right? Doesn't reflect the heat, it absorbs it. What are those little rubber things made out of? Huh? Asphalt? Nope. What? Tires. They are made out of tires. How do you take tires and turn them into little bitty things like that, little pebble-like things? You melt them? Have you ever seen a rancher try to melt like his tires? What happens? They catch on fire, and they're not melting. They're burning up with a great big black carbon cloud above them. So heat and rubber, because rubber is a petroleum-based product, ain't gonna match. You what? Shred them. That's another idea. But if I put paper like in that shredder, right? Shredder is going to cause friction. Friction causes heat. Heat causes rubber to melt. No, it's not going to work. So they can't shred them. Well, of course, there's machines, but what do you have to do? Huh? You can't melt them. They'll catch on fire. If you can't melt it, then you do what? Freeze it. You freeze your tires. You freeze them at like 250 degrees below zero. And then what do? Boom, boom. Clank them together. Because it makes them so brittle, now the rubber breaks. Ah, only two places in the world that make those, or does this. One's in Canada, and the other's here in Texas. Pretty cool place. All right. So, now that we know how we make those little AstroTurf pellets, right? They're black, made out of tire, smells like rubber. It gets hotter than grass. So if I'm playing football and I'm getting tackled, every time I get tackled, am I gaining heat or losing heat? You gain heat every time you get tackled. How about my feet? You gotta stand on them. Yes, you're gaining heat. How about when I get down in a 4-point stance or 3-point? Yes, every time. So every time I touch something, there's going to be a balancing. All right? So let's try this today. There's railings outside, up there by the steps. It's 50 degrees out. What I want you to do is I want you to just take your hand and hold it there for 1 minute. What happens? Your hand gets colder, the railing gets warmer. They equal out, right? Yeah? Well, yeah, you're seeing that where it's, yes. So if you pour that in there in one of those cups, it turns blue. And then if you hold it where you had your fingers, it's got a different color, right? Because it's warmer. That is conductive heat exchange. When if I've got a fever and I touch him, his shoulder gets hotter, my hand gets cooler. Hydroculator pad. Look, I put it on somebody, that area gets warmer, the hydroculator gets cooler. And they're gonna keep balancing out. So eventually they get the same temperature. All right? Conductive. I'm touching you. All right? So, in other words, if I want to, anybody ever get that static electricity and touch somebody? You conduct electrical conduction. You got to touch them to make it work. Trying to help you remember which one's conduction. All right? Because it has nothing to do with choo-choo train. All right. Let's see where I put my thing. Convective heat exchange. Who in here likes cookies? I mean, I love cookies. Chocolate chip cookies? Snickerdoodle cookies. Oh my gosh. Great. You ever gone to somebody's house that doesn't know how to cook, or they got a bad oven? The top of the cookie is still raw and the bottom of the cookie is burnt? They're the worst cookies ever, aren't they? I mean, because you're like, Oh, it looks so good. Oh man, it's burnt. It's just a tease, right? So they make these ovens that have a little fan in the back. They're called convection ovens. Yeah, you turn the oven on, and you tell it to be a convection oven. And so let's say it's supposed to be 400 degrees in the oven, of course, right? It tries, what the fan does is it takes that hot air and it flows it around the entire oven. So the whole oven's 400 degrees instead of you having hot spots and cool spots. Instead of down here, right there at the heating element, it's 400 degrees, and then over here it's 350. The convection puts all the air around and tries to get all of it at 400 degrees. So that's what that is. That's convective heat exchange. Body heat can be either lost or gained depending upon the temperature of a circulating medium. So in that oven, what's the circulating medium? Air. Yes. The air in there is 400 degrees. It's circulating around. Thus, what happens to the cookie dough? Turns to how hot? 400 degrees. All right. Does it have to only be air? No. What else could it be? What? Water? Water is a great thing, right? So we use water all the time with the whirlpool. If I want to cool somebody down, I put it to 50 degrees. I put them in it. Convection. That I'm just using water instead of air. What happens if somebody goes in there and they've got 50 degrees and then one of them gets in, they wait there 3 minutes, they come back out. Next one, what happens to the temperature of that water? It does go up, but we didn't heat it. We heated it through the body, through the convection heat exchange. All right? So what about outside? What's my average temperature of the person? 98.6. So if it's 102 degrees out, you're going to get hotter or cooler? You will get hotter. All right? If we got a cool breeze, that might help reduce the body heat on a hot day. So it all depends upon what's around you. All right? Got the convection part down? Good. We got conduction down, convection down. Uh-oh, radiant heat exchange. Radiant. Sounds like radiation, doesn't it? Yeah. What's the biggest ball of radiation we know of? Yeah, the sun. You actually get radiation from the sun. You get solar flares. All right? They can knock out power grids. Solar flares can knock out power grids. From golly, how far is it to the sun? Anybody know that? Because I don't. Huh? 93 something million miles? I don't know. I've not made that trip. But radiant heat is from sunshine that causes an increase in body temperature. Has anybody got a classroom that in the morning gets the morning sun in the windows? And it's as hot then as it is in the afternoon, right? What happens? The sun rays do what? They come in through the window and they actually change. They come in and bring the heat with it. They change so they can't come back out. So that's why those rooms get hot. This is ninth grade earth science. Mr. Jones was telling me this. Now they come in, they change, they get trapped in the room, the heat rays. They can't come back out. That's why his room, even though it was the dead of winter up there in Philly, first period, we would have to open up the windows to try and keep from burning up because just the sun coming in through those windows. So radiant heat is from the sun. It causes an increase in body temperature. The effects of radiation are much greater in the sunshine than in the shade. Duh. That's why when you're in Texas and you drive around, those cows don't stand out in the sunshine, do they? They find the biggest oak tree that they can find, and they either lay down or they stand under it. So they're pretty smart. They know to get out of the sunshine. To radiate heat from increased metabolism, the body dilates superficial. Superficial means what? Huh? Superficial. Just under the skin. It's superficial. It's not deep. It's superficial. All right? Superficial artery and venous vessels channeling the blood to the skin. There was this one guy. He played pro football, but anyways, then during the wintertime, the Eagles would play basketball against like high school teams and stuff to help those teams make money. So they would go in, say, all right, we're going to charge you $1,000. We're going to have 10 guys show up. They only made $100 a game. This is way back. Football players wouldn't do this now. All right, made $100 a game, and the school would charge however they want, how much they want to get people to come in. So here's your 1,000. Anything I make over $1,000, all right, for the school, it's all profit. And so they would do that. So there's one guy, Lucan, that was his last name. He would get out there and play, and he would turn pink. Okay, why is he turning pink? Because his body's increasing in temperature. All right, and what happens? The body dilates the superficial arterial and venous vessels, which means that it's pushing the blood out towards the skin. Why does the body do that? To get the heat out. Exactly. It's hoping that the breezes will come by, and then that the convective heat exchange will help. But if you're in the sunshine, that's what happens too. All right? Go lay at the beach, you're going to get hot. It might not be that hot, but if you can get rid of that wind, just laying in the sun, you're going, oh, I know it's only supposed to be 60 degrees, but I feel pretty warm. Especially if you get rid of that breeze. All right? So tomorrow is Friday. I want you to know what is convective, what is conductive, and what is radiant heat exchange. All right? You're going to have a quiz.